Everybody needs water, but how many people know where their water comes from? There are really only two options. It either comes from rivers or it comes from the ground. My name is Jonah Bartrand, and today I'm going to tell you about where groundwater comes from, who uses it, and some of the issues surrounding its use. Not all parts of the ground can hold water. Some rock layers don't have any extra space, but other layers do. These layers with extra space that hold water are called aquifers. There are two types of aquifers: water tables and confined aquifers. Water tables are typically used for irrigation, and confined aquifers are mostly used for drinking water. We can think of aquifers as water tanks under the ground. A water tank has a source to let water into the tank, an outlet so the water in the tank can be used, and a certain volume to store water. An aquifer works exactly the same way. Rainfall and rivers put water into the aquifers, while wells pull water out. But while a typical water tank may hold several thousand gallons of water, an aquifer can hold several trillion gallons. Everybody has heard of aquifers, but not many people equate aquifers with the water coming out of their taps. If you happen to live in a house with a well, then you know your water is coming from the ground. Yet for many cities in the United States, aquifers are the only available source of water. 22% of the total water use in the United States is groundwater, and more than 60% of irrigation water comes from aquifers. There are certain areas of the country which depend more upon aquifers. The western United States, which is generally more arid and has more agriculture, has a greater dependence on groundwater than the eastern United States. When too much water is drawn from a water tank, eventually there's no water left. The same thing happens with aquifers. In extreme cases, wells run dry, cities start rationing water, and crops die. This can result in food that is more expensive, and sickness caused by a lack of water or contaminated water supplies. Some types of damage are also irreversible. Drawing too much water from an aquifer can cause the metaphorical tank to shrink. Many areas have seen ground levels fall because so much water has been drawn from the aquifers beneath them. Areas of the San Joaquin Valley have seen ground surface fall dozens of feet. Parts of Las Vegas and Mexico City have seen differential settling of the ground surface, causing structural damage to buildings and streets, all as a result of pumping too much water from the ground. The good news is that groundwater is a renewable resource. Many state and local governments are experimenting with infiltration ponds and flood irrigation to recharge aquifers. This approach treats aquifers as water banks. You deposit water when it is available and withdraw it when you need it. This approach has been shown to be successful for certain aquifers. But by far the best way to conserve aquifers is to reduce the amount of water that we draw from them.